Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. Before we begin, beware of dragon-sized spoilers that are coming up ahead. Therefore, stay here at your own risk or fly away. The 10th episode saw two horrific and traumatic death sequences, but more importantly, the episode officially commenced the Dance of Dragons. Daemon Targaryen, the greatest battle commander and warrior of his time, has started weighing the strengths that the Greens and the Blacks possess. And he rightly concludes that dragons are the most formidable weapons in the war to come. Yes, armies, strategy, and politics win wars, but dragons win battles. And once you have won too many battles, you have won the war. So, Daemon goes to a never-seen-before dragon and starts singing to it in High Valyrian. You may already know who this beast is. In this video, we'll explore everything there is to know about the song Daemon sings, but more importantly, the dragon he sings to, its part in the book, and the future in the show. Let's begin, shall we? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
There are also unclaimed dragons. Seasmoke still resides on Driftmark. Vermithor and Silverwing dwell on the dragon.
Who is the dragon Daemon is singing to? Daemon Targaryen, the Lord Protector, rider of the Bloodworm and husband of the Queen, sings a song to this huge and ferocious yet ugly dragon in the finale of the first season of House of the Dragon. Right after listening to that rather enchanting song in Matt Smith's voice, I was desperate to find out what it meant. Fortunately for me, the song's translation was confirmed by David J. Peterson, the very man who created High Valyrian for Game of Thrones. The name of the song is Haros Bartosi, and its English translation would be With Three Heads. But fear you not, I'll read out the entire song's translation for you, and it goes something like this. Fire breather, winged leader, but two heads to a third sing. From my voice, the fires have spoken, and the price has been paid with blood magic, with words aflame, with clear eyes. To bind the three, to you I sing. As one we gather, and with three heads we shall fly as we were destined beautifully, freely. Daemon sings this song to Vermithor, the dragon once ridden by the old king Jaehaerys, but after his death, no one really claimed Vermithor. While the song may seem like somewhat of a minor subtext, it has far greater implications, with some theories suggesting that Vermithor's future in the show would be different than the one in the book. At the first Black Council convened by Rhaenyra after her coronation with the crown of Kings Jaehaerys and Viserys, Daemon tallies his dragons and concludes that there were at least 13 dragons present at Dragonstone.
Yes, by my count. We have Syrax, Caraxes, and Meleys. Your sons have Virmax, Arax, and Tyrax.
These would be Syrax, Meleys, Arax, Vermax, Tyraxes, Caraxes, and Moondancer, 6 dragons who had riders. Unfortunately, they lost Lucerys and Arax. Then there were wild dragons such as Sheepstealer, Grey Ghost, and Cannibal. And then there were riderless dragons such as Seasmoke, Silverwing, and Vermithor. On the other hand, the Greens had only 3 battle-ready dragons in King's Landing. Under these circumstances, Daemon wanted more dragons at his disposal. And why not? They were pretty much the nukes of Westeros. Naturally, Daemon goes to Vermithor and starts to sing to the dragon. But, as should be expected, he's very cautious around the Bronze Fury, because that was not just a sexy-ass name, but something that defines Vermithor. Vermithor is the second biggest and oldest dragon living in Westeros in contemporary times, and naturally, he'll have an immense role to play in the war to come. His raw firepower and brute strength are factors that can change the tide of any war, but I'm not entirely sure if the show's Vermithor would follow the same path as the book's Vermithor. I'll come to this in a bit, but before that, I want to explore why exactly Daemon was singing to the 100-year-old dragon. Why does Daemon sing to Vermithor? The fact that Daemon approaches Vermithor, shows off his singing skills, and lives to see the day is proof that Daemon is as great a badass as Vermithor himself. Furthermore, he's the rider of Caraxes, a dragon known to be vicious, and Daemon also retrieved the eggs that Syrax had laid. He's definitely the most dragon amongst all living Targaryens. Now, as far as the song is concerned, it has several phrases that hint at Aegon and the doom of Valyria. For instance, the winged leader can be a reference to Aegon the Conqueror and the prince being paid by blood magic. Words of fire and clear eyes remind me of the dream that Daenerys the Dreamer had watched about Valeria's Pompeii-style end. The question that arises here is, how did Daemon learn the song? Well, there are two plausible reasons. First, he may have learnt it from the old king Jaehaerys, who was Daemon's grandfather. Another possibility is that he learned the song during his time in Pentos, when he was doing some excessive reading about the history of Valyria before and after its doom. The second and more important question that arises is, what is the purpose of singing a song to a dragon? I believe he's trying to let Vermithor know that a great war is knocking at the door and that Vermithor will have an important part to play. The dragon had been living without a rider for some 30 years until Daemon paid a visit. Vermithor had to be made accustomed to humans once again, and what better way to do that than by singing a song about old Valyria? Furthermore, the entire sequence also puts credibility into the blood magic theory, according to which Targaryen and dragons form the bond shared by friends, rather than a bond between a master and his pet. Viserys often claimed that dragons cannot be controlled, and he's proven correct by the fact that both Lucerys and Aemond fail to control their dragons. Furthermore, during Rhaenyra's final birthing scene, she sees glimpses of Syrax screaming in pain. It was as if Syrax could feel her rider's pain. There is a reason why Targaryens put dragon eggs in the cradles of their infant, and it's done to ensure that the beast and the child form an intimate bond. So, was Daemon trying to rekindle the bond that Vermithor once shared with King Jaehaerys? Having said that, it is unlikely that Daemon would himself ride Vermithor, because dragons are extremely possessive of their riders. If a rider's existing dragon is alive, another dragon would most likely not accept him. But then again, this is just a speculation, but a serious one at that. What happened to Vermithor in the book? When the dance started in the book, Dragonstone had more dragons than riders, and if the Blacks had more riders, winning the war would prove that much easier. Prince Jaehaerys knew this, and he came up with this brilliant but reckless idea of offering the people of Dragonstone the opportunity of winning lands and titles if they managed to ride dragons and fight for the Blacks. Many Targaryen bastards or dragon seeds attempted to ride dragons, and many perished. For instance, Lord Gorman Massey tried to mount Vermithor, but was burned to death. In the end, a blacksmith's bastard son named Hugh Hammer managed to claim Vermithor for himself. After this, Hugh Hammer joined the Blacks and rode to the battle in the Gullet along with Silverwing, Seasmoke, Vermax, and Sheep Stealer. Not long after this, the Blacks had taken King's Landing, and Hugh Hammer reached the Dragon Pit with Vermithor, where the dragon made a lair before leaving for the Battle of Tumbleton. But Hugh Hammer and another dragon seed named Ulf White did not stay with the Blacks for long. After the battle at Tumbleton, they switched sides and joined the Greens, who had promised better lands and titles to the dragon riders. Vermithor, along with other dragons, burned Tumbleton to the ground before the town was sacked. But Hugh Hammer's ambitions were bigger than the size of his dragon. When he learned that King Aegon had gone missing and Prince Aemond was dead, he thought it was time that he became king. However, Sir Adam Valerian on Seasmoke and his 4,000 men attacked Hugh Hammer and the Hightower host he was with. Hugh tried to reach his dragon, but was slain by Jon Roxton, who used his Valyrian steel sword named Orphan Maker. After this, some 40 knights tried to slay Vermithor, but the dragon killed them all. However, Vermithor had been wounded and was left enraged. He unleashed his fiery wrath on the humans around and attempted to take flight, but Seasmoke launched an attack from above. The fight resulted in Seasmoke's death, but the old dragon was mortally wounded. What is Vermithor's future in House of the Dragon? So that's what happens to Vermithor in the book, but given that the show is following the plot points but changing the characters, I'm not sure if it would be Hugh Hammer who rides Vermithor. I mean, in the show, Sir Eric Cargill brings Rhaenyra the crown of her father, while in the book, Sir Steffan Darkling does that. Peace terms are brought to Rhaenyra at Dragonstone, but by Maester Orwyll and not two knights and not Otto Hightower. Then there's Vaemond Valerian, who never went to King's Landing to press his claim, but Vaemond's 2 sons and 5 nephews. So, the same tasks from the books are performed by different people in the show. I believe something of that sort may happen here as well. It is quite a possibility that a dark horse may end up claiming Vermithor, maybe someone like Lena Valerian. But hey, that's just something I feel, and I'd love to hear your opinion on the same. No matter who ends up riding the great old beast, it is beyond doubt that Vermithor is a force that can change the course of the war at the flap of a wing. And only the second season will tell what the creators have in mind for this Bronze Fury. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.